This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. We have potentially a new little mini series to discuss here today. I have my friend Ash Austin of Magnolia and Ash on this episode. She's the one that came up with the idea for me a couple months ago to go live on Instagram with friends in the industry who had the energy of that particular gate that the sun was in. You know, just like I track it on the podcast, why not hop on and chat with friends that have it, embody it, so on and so forth. So I love that. But time and schedule and all of that, what permitting was always a little bit of a hang up. And so we decided let's just do this as a podcast this time, see how it goes. I love the pod because it's like it lives on and people actually get to listen to it. So in this case, uh, gate 21, which the sun is in right now, she has gate 21 as her north node. Very magical point in the chart. It's actually my obsession, has been for so long. And yeah, it's really about, in this case, her dharma, there's purpose, destination with this particular point. And so, I'm thinking of this as like the embodied beauty of these energies. So I think it's very helpful. And in this case, gate 21, I don't have it. I don't have any part of the channel. I talk about it. My son has the whole thing, but I see it and observe it in other people. But how fun to be able to actually dive in with somebody who lives it, right? And definitely in the world of aesthetics, which is very important to me, that I'm talking to my industry people, my friends. I'm like, it's all aesthetics all the time in my world. So, yeah, and she's actually the way that I get introduced to LILFOX. Like, she is their lead pro trainer, and there's all kinds of cool things brewing right now in the background with the brand. And so, I'm obsessed. And like any estheticians listening, you have to find out what the hype is about because they're incredible. Um, and I would always suggest like reaching out. If you're on their website, you can go to their section that's like the back bar, and get in touch if you're curious about them. So we're gonna get on with it. As a reminder, we've got my brand new, beautifully redesigned free guide. I just redid that. That gets you on my email list. So highly suggest not emailing about anything right now, but there are things coming in the future, especially if you're an aesthetic professional. I suggest you hop on there. Trainings and things that are coming up. My $11 or type masterclasses. If you do the free guide, then you'll be like, okay, this makes sense. Let's take the next step. I have the Golden Experience Guide coming out. Last night, we just did the first Metamorphosis Society. Love how that all runs together. And that was so much fun. I can't wait to do Taurus season. So if any of these things interest you, all the links are in the show notes. Of course, Instagram bio at Michaela McLean. And yeah, follow along on this little dive into gate 21 with Ash Austin. Hey everyone, we're back with my friend Ash Austin of Magnolia and Ash. She is a 1/3 splenic projector. And in this new little series, something that we were playing around with on Instagram for a while, but decided to take it to the podcast. I just want to explore the energy of the current gate with somebody who actually has it and knows what it's like to live with it, embody it, all of that. So in Ash's case, gate 21, which we are currently in, is her north node. And the north node is essentially our dharma, our purpose. It's our destination in life. And so oftentimes it can be a little bit more out of our reach, or just not really like our present tense, but definitely the thing that we are working and striving toward. And so it's really my favorite thing in the chart, my obsession, because I always say if you're working on living, trying to move toward your north node, you're essentially like leveling up in life. So gate 21, Ash, welcome. Happy to have you back for who knows how many times.
Thanks. I love being here.
Yay. So for right off the bat, what is your experience with 21? Because you actually have it. It's actually your conscious Mars as well. You have your Mars conjunct your North Node.
Okay, I actually would need a reminder of what that means. But um, yeah, I feel like ever since you've introduced to me the North Node and the Dharma, everything is, it's like it's taken me a while, but it's like, okay, now I know what the goal, what the like kind of not the goal, but like the energy I'm needing to strive for. And since gate 21 is an Aries gate, that's like that was like such an unfamiliar energy for me because I'm
Yeah.
coming from the karmic, like the complete opposite energy. But how healing, So it's interesting because gate 21, the shadow is control.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I tend to be more repressive, like where I give all my power. I have given all my power away.
And that's what's really interesting is like if you have an Aries North node, that means you have a Libra South node. And Libra is all about, the partnership and the collaboration. And it's a beautiful sign, lovely sign, but can get a little bit trapped in being like codependent or let me give my power away or all of that kind of stuff. And in your case, the South node is in gate 48, which is the fear of inadequacy. It's like
Oh,
I'm gonna give all my power away because I don't feel like I'm the one to like step in and take it. And so it's just been so fun to watch you, really like zero in as it is for me with everybody, but especially you. I'd be like,
yeah.
no, girl, like you get to put your Aries pants on and like boss up and do the thing that way, which I just love.
I feel like when you first told me my North Node was in Aries, I was like so overwhelmed by the thought of that that
Yeah.
it was like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I supposed to like I don't know if I want to like actually pay attention to this or if I want to just like look at other things for a while. But it's funny because now I like really like I was really looking forward to this Aries season.
Yeah.
I feel like this last year, especially since I've been working so closely with you, like I just was like, okay, I'm ready for it. Like this is it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's interesting because I didn't realize that my North Node gate was going active like this weekend. And
Mm-hmm.
I had like subconsciously planned my business team like branding photo shoot during this gate activation. And when you told me this was happening this week, I was like, oh my gosh, like that is some powerful
Yes.
shit.
I
It's like
love
so
it.
crazy.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I love it. Well, what's cool too is I mentioned about you having Mars conjunct here, and it's like Mars is, how we take action. Mars is ruled by Aries. Or
Okay.
Mars
Wow.
rules Aries, sorry, the one and the same, basically. And it's like, so
That's
they're
right.
yeah, they're partners. And in human design, each of the planets gets talked about a little bit differently than just in regular astrology. So in human design, it's considered like a, momentum and this placement where you become incredibly wise over time. Like it starts out immature and it
Hmm.
become like it does develop and become, this very like strong, wise placement. And so how interesting to be like, wow, when you really like lean into this side of things, into gate 21, how incredibly powerful it's going to be. You're going to have this momentum and power and drive behind, or partner right alongside with your North Node, with your Dharma and your destiny being in
Yeah.
this. And if people want to pop back to the last episode and listen to gate 21 at length, it's a tribal gate. And so
Hmm.
it's very strong, but it's like it's meant to be anything that's tribal. The keynote is always support. It's here to offer support to its people, to its tribe.
Yeah.
And the
I
support
feel
is,
that.
yeah, right. To be this person who is in a very positive way in control, like not controlling, but in control, and
Yeah.
doing it for the sake of their people, to make sure everyone is taken care of, and to be a leader. It is a leadership gate.
I know, it's not so wild.
But that's really what you've done. And, you went from being a solo esthetician to in the last year where it was just like, she's splenic authority, Moon and Gate 28. It's like one day she's just like, I'm going to open a bigger
Yeah,
space. It just like, boom,
yeah,
it came out of nowhere. And,
nowhere.
it's like having employees, all of these things going from
Yeah,
solo to that. And it's correct. You are supposed to be in this role.
yeah, I know. It's so interesting. Um, yeah, I don't even know. The splenic energy, I feel like that's a huge part of it because you've really like you're like when you feel it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yep, that's what happens. And
Yep.
it's just like this knowing. And like I think too, like people used to ask me, oh, do you want to like run and operate your own business one day? Like I could see you like owning your own business. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's so much work. It's so much drama. Like,
Hmm.
no. And it kind of like I feel like I was forced into like first working for myself, because that's just where my energy was guiding me. And then it's just like it's like my spirit is just like taking me there. Like it's like the Dharma. Like
Yeah.
you can't stop it. So you get
Right? Like I'm along for the ride. Well,
yeah,
that's what's wild is it about the control again, going back to like the details of this gate is that it really is almost about being in control of yourself first so that you
yeah,
can be a support for other people in that in
hmm,
that system, right?
yeah,
Um so yeah, so curious as far as your feelings on this is one of the money or abundance gates in human design, and so applying it to aesthetic business, right? This is it really is about kind of having control of the finances. And I was thinking about this and like, where we being very aware of like where we're spending money. It's easy when you're the employee and you're not really considering it, but when you're the business owner and, okay, have I calculated out costs? Like, how much does a facial need to cost to support things? Or how much, if somebody's using the analogy I used earlier, it's like a dermaplane blade or, a pair of gloves or how many pumps of cleanser or, like whatever you've got going is like, are we managing our resources well so that we really do have what we need? Because you've managed before, but now this is the first time of you owning your own business and having your own employees.
yeah. It's really interesting because the managing that I came from in the past was a supportive role, like
Hmm.
training, guiding, boosting morale with estheticians and their
Hmm.
craft and like the background stuff, like the numbers, that is like, oh, so it's and I'm like, what? Like it's an opportunity for me. When it comes, I've kind of like, I think we're going to talk about this a little bit, but like the burnout, it's like
Hmm.
I have all these things that I know I need to like basically like what I need to do to get the foundation and the process correct. But I've had to like give myself grace and space with it because if I try to power through it and fix everything at once, I am going to burn out. And I know that about myself. So I've kind of been like, when it comes to ordering things or bringing on new products or like adding in something different in the treatment room or something like that, like if my spleen tells me it's time, I'll do it. But a lot of times I'll just wait until the timing is right,
Yeah.
which is not a mathematical, cohesive process for most people in their business. But it's what works best for me. And I
Yes.
know that that's where I'm supposed to be running my business from at this time. And then because right now I feel like I'm really witnessing how the business wants to be run and supported. But with that, I will create the foundation and the structure with specific numbers. But that will come with time because right now I don't have a flow. Like I have my
Hmm.
flow, but I have two other, licensed professionals working for me, building their clients, marketing, like so much newness that there's no, like I can't, I'm like, I don't know. I'm still learning. I'm learning what the business needs and wants. So having a little bit of grace with not having a specific, I don't know, financial structure, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I know where I like my account to be.
Yep.
And I know I know where my, what my normal orders are. I carry a lot of retail and stuff, but I try to like not jump the gun and be like, oh my God, we ran out of that product and that one item and I got to reorder now.
Yeah.
But I love that you brought up understanding like how much does it cost to have like one plain blade used or like one cotton round and like, oh yeah, I need that. That's coming.
Yeah.
So I feel that deeply, but now is not the time because I have so much other stuff I'm focusing on.
Totally.
But I feel that deeply that just I need, it'll come.
Well, and that's what I think's beautiful even about your profile being a 1-3. It's like, the one is going to dig and going to get all the details and the knowledge and then the three is like, and then I need to experiment and I need to see what actually works for this business. So it is such a healthy, back and forth balance with it. And like you said, that it's going to come over time. And it's like refinement and alignment over a longer period. But you think about that, you're like, there's so many little like almost hidden corners of places to look in your business of like, yeah, I can tighten up ship. You haven't even been open in this capacity for, well, it was September. I'm like,
Yeah, well, I moved in here solo. It's like
mhm,
650 square feet. Like it's bigger than when I was in, but it's like it's still a nice intimate size.
yeah,
Like one facial room, we have a brow bar room, and then I came in here alone in June with my clients one on one and then hired on my team. I brought on one of my girls in August
mhm,
and she started very part-time and then brought on my second licensed employee in November. Remember
right.
one day I just woke up and I was like, I need to hire. And I
Yeah.
posted on Instagram and I had a ton of people apply and I interviewed a couple people who were really kind and sweet, but like I knew we're not the right fit in my South Node, like energy, wanting to take care of others over, just like wanting everyone to feel included was like, maybe I should just hire them. And my
Mhm,
husband was like, no, firm no, like focus on what you want. And
mhm,
then my girl now, she came in and I was like, you know what I mean? It was like,
yeah.
it was the time. Like I posted it. She's like, I saw the post. I've been following you for a while. I just really want to work for you and learn from you and just be in your space. And it was like, okay, this is it.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, so it's funny because that's clean.
It is. It is. I love that.
Yeah.
No, that's so good. And again, that it's like, I, I mean, I laugh because I'm over here, pure individual, zero desire to ever. I'm always like, I don't want to have any physical space. I don't want to have physical product. I don't want to, everything I want to be ethereal and,
So funny.
like virtual. And just, I'm always like the magic fairy dust. Like, I don't have that feeling. And instead, like, you are wired to be the leader of your group and actually be that
Hmm.
support person. It's like, 21 is a business gate. It's like it's all these things. I'm like, so what is totally foreign for me is perfectly in alignment for you,
Yeah.
and that's
So
what's so cool.
funny.
I'm like listening, I'm like, I would never want employees.
Yeah. That's why it's so wild when, I think that there's so many amazing supportive people out there just trying to, help people maximize like their business and their process, but like relying on somebody else's perspective for like coaching and things like that. I think obviously, hopefully we
Mhm.
get some good nuggets from like process and foundation, but I'm like, man, like how is somebody else going to understand, how you should run your business? Because that comes from your soul, would make more
Mhm.
sense to like dive deep into your human design.
Girl, you know it 1,000%. I'm always like, man, when I work with people, they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, you should have started with me. Then you can
Yeah,
take that information and go like work with other people and get, like take their
maximize.
maximize. Absolutely. But you're like, man, if that's not for you, like, and like you're, you being a 1-3 profile, it's like, you are definitely going to be a person that's got to figure it out for themselves. Like it's not going to
Yeah,
do for having like somebody coach you and but
yeah,
this very line one, learning about yourself and then experimenting with it makes complete sense. Um,
yeah.
so one thing I wanted to ask you too, like is with 21. because I know that you're good with this. And I think this is a side of 21 that you naturally have, that you haven't necessarily had to oh, I gotta develop this, but it's like the taking control and being the authority in the treatment room, taking control of the appointment time, all of that. Like, I think a lot of people struggle with that, especially newer estheticians, being like, oh shoot, I'm the one. uh, they came to me, as the skincare authority. And what's your take on that, or what advice would you have for people kind of to be able to feel confident in being the authority?
That is such a great question. Oh my gosh. Because that is like something I lived so deeply in the repressive state of 21,
Mhm,
like of not having any control for so many years. Like,
mhm,
it took me a long time to heal that, because, it's intimidating as an esthetician sometimes, not for
mhm,
everybody, but for someone like me who is incredibly sensitive, like sensitive to energy, to people's emotions. And before I really understood that, people, I wasn't calling in the right soul clients, like,
mhm.
I mean, I had amazing clients. Some of them were soul clients, but like, it's just like, I feel like people were coming in and wanting to control the treatment themselves and telling
Yeah.
me, oh, well, this is what my other esthetician would do. And this is what, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel comfortable peeling your face off. Like, that's not I don't come from medical. So like, I would get
Mhm,
nervous because I'm like, I don't feel like I have any control over this. Or like, I
mhm,
had a little microdermabrasion. I had, a professional, but like a smaller microdermabrasion machine for a while when I first opened my business because I felt pressure to have it. Because I
mhm.
thought, okay, everybody wants this. This is what everybody's doing. And I learned my lesson. I didn't feel confident using it because that's just not my nature.
Yep. Yep.
And I had a client who had that's what she wanted. She really, she really liked the microdermabrasions and like the deeper exfoliations, even though I knew her skin wasn't really like calling for that. But she
Mhm,
wanted the esthetician, she wanted the holistic side too. So I did a gua sha massage,
mhm,
which really helped move some stagnation.
mhm.
She was gonna, I didn't realize this at the time because I didn't really like do gua sha with microderm like ever, but this is what she wanted. And she had like an emotional purge from the gua sha, which was, you know, probably in her best interest.
Mhm.
But like, how do I tell someone that? But then with the microdermabrasion on top of that, it like she didn't have any physical reaction, irritation, but her skin was swollen. Like her face felt like it was swollen. And I was like, okay, well, I knew immediately it was okay. Her skin didn't want that exfoliation, even though she was adamant about it. And I
Yeah.
didn't have the authority to tell her no. And I
Mhm,
learned. And after that, the only time I've ever refunded somebody their money because I was like, I took responsibility. I was like,
mhm.
I know I should have taken authority in that. And then I pulled the microdermabrasion out of my room and I said, I'm done. We're not doing this anymore. Took it
Right.
off my menu and I said, we're done. That was a big learn. That was a few years ago, but big learning curve for me. And it's interesting. But I think once I opened my business a few years ago, I recognized there was a huge healing coming, like lots of, it was like when my awakening really started. And
Mhm,
I just learned that like, I learned how to have self worth, in what I was
mhm.
doing. It's like I can't even. There's so much we could talk about here. Like, I think it's just like a very deeply inner healing experience for me. Coming from
Yeah.
someone who had like no self esteem. So yeah,
Right. And then I
forced.
rock up on the scene and I'm like, girl, put your boss pants on.
I know, and I'm all Aries. No, never. That's not me. And now I'm like, come on, baby.
Right. I love it. I love it. Well, the last little chunk I want to ask you about, because this is super important for anybody, but especially because your aura type, you are a projector, is
Mm,
that this gate is very much tied to the work to rest concept, is that you cannot push You're not meant to be overworking if you're a projector. You're definitely not meant to be overworking if you have the little defined heart motor, which you fall into both categories. And it's like that when you understand that there's a balance between work and rest, is that that the idea between a 21 person is that you're advocating for you and your people to make sure that
Yeah.
you have a healthy life balance. And I've told you this in the past, and this goes for all projectors, is that they're the they're meant to be the guides of the energy beings, the one, those of us that like have sacrals and have all this energy to kind of like give, is that you're here to coach and manage it and direct the energy in the world. And so, when and good Lord, I know have so many projector friends, and I'm always like, why are you guys the ones trying to do the most all the time? Because
Yeah.
living in the not self and living in that conditioning of like, well, I have to keep up. But really the idea is that if the projector is living in alignment, they're guiding the rest of us to realize like none of us should be working to the extent that we are at things that we don't love, at, you know what I mean, just like trying to
Yeah.
keep up with the world versus, no, this doesn't feel right, doesn't feel appropriate. So yeah, I just like will I'll give you the floor on the on that subject.
Well, I think too that um, I don't know, being a projector, I don't know if this is like the case for a lot of other projectors, but a lot of us have, I feel like just from who I've talked to or you've shared with about me, a lot of us were like not invited in growing up as a child.
Yes.
So like it's like a part of our path of learning how to love and accept ourselves. It's like we had to be like shut out. Um, whether it's like school or family, whatever it was,
Mhm.
socially, right? And that's all, being loved and accepted. That's everybody wants that, but it hits a
Yeah.
projector on this level of like, wait to be invited in. That's how we live in alignment. So as a child, it's like hard to learn that, right? So,
Yeah.
um, being someone who coaches and guides others, I think that there's always this, like for me at least, there's been this energy I've had to heal of like feeling like I need to be doing just as much as them to prove
Mhm.
I'm a part of the team. But also like making sure that like, the last thing I'd ever want is for someone to like this is my own insecurity. Like I don't want to look like I have a big ego,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we do
Mhm.
so much work to like live in our spirit and then love our ego. Um, and so it's like funny because I'm like, well, my ego is like not shouting I'm the shit. My ego is like I suck, So it's kind of
Right.
funny that I would even think that. Um, but I feel that I've had to heal a lot of my own insecurities and like recognize like, okay, when I'm not resting, abundance is not coming.
Mhm.
So I've been watching and experimenting. If I have more rest in my week and I'm following my routine that I've created for myself, and I'm not like booking people on my day off or, overextending myself, then things flow. And it's interesting. So I was talking to a friend earlier who is very immersed in human design as well, and I was like, I'm so sorry I haven't been able to make it to your most recent workshop, but I feel that you really understand. And, I'm, sending all the love and support. And she's like, oh, yeah. She's like, it's fine. And it's funny because, like, I just wish, that we all find peace and love for each other and where we're at and how we're supposed to be operating because it's not meant to offend, you know?
Mhm.
Um, like, I realize, like, right now, my energy is available for my business and my family and
Mhm.
really nothing else, myself. Like
Mhm.
I don't have the time or the energy to be doing things outside of it because that's just I'm growing right now.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of change coming soon. A lot of surrender, letting my team step into the treatment room more as I gently step out a little bit because I'm, definitely being guided to support it from a different angle. And I mean, we know I'm not going to be in there forever, you
Right.
know. So it's
Right.
been interesting. It's definitely interesting, but I have a really great team and staff, and like I'm very transparent with them, and like they know it's going to take some time for them to fill their appointment books. Everyone's on the same page and they know that as the business grows, as their clientele grows, the abundance grows. And so there's no hiding anything in that aspect. I think it's really important that, having like employees who really love what they're doing understand like, hey, yeah, I'm not making $30 an hour right now, but like I will. And I know I trust Ashley. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's been a huge part of, I feel, how we've bonded too. So I'm
Mhm.
running things a little differently because like coming from the corporate world, like there's a lot of, there was like numbers and pressure to hit these numbers and then everyone was making shit money. And it was like, what are we doing this for? There's a lot of
Mhm.
resentment and bitterness. So in this space, it's just like a lot of love. And like, if I have like the ability to like give more than I will, I always will.
Yeah.
But I've had to teach myself how to not overgive because,
Mhm.
I'll be like, oh my God, I need to give them more. Like, or, and that's my own wanting to take care of the tribe. And then I'm like, nope, just got to keep the system in place that I created. Everyone agreed to it. We're fine. I have to remind myself.
Yeah.
Did that
Yeah.
answer your question? I feel like I went off.
I love it. No. And I think, it kind of ties it up nicely though. I had already you and I talked about this the other day and I mentioned it on the Gate 21 episode, but the meme, relax, nothing is under control. And there's that final like that surrender to that concept piece. I think with this particular gate, it's like I'm going to show up, I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to serve, I'm going to do what's in
Yeah.
people's best interest, but at the end of the day it's like I can't white knuckle everything. I really do have to find this peace and serenity within. I'm going to control what I can, which oftentimes is just ourselves, and be an
Mhm.
example and all of that, and release enough, that you're like, I'll control what I can, and let go of what I can't.
Yeah. And I think too, like understanding um more inside of my, my heart of like the difference between control and authority, because those
Yes.
two words can get really intertwined. And
Hmm.
then and like really being able to separate it and be like, okay, what is healthy control? What is healthy authority? Because, you know, that shadow can poke you.
Absolutely. Well, and one thing, and I'm like, I know your chart well, but it's like you're a line 6 here.
Mm.
It's like,
What?
well, I mean, that's here in your North Node, it's like being a role model.
Oh shit. Another plot twist.
No, but man, this is like what were we just talking about before we got started? It was like it's layers on layers, and then you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's like the experimentation, and
Hmm.
then going into retreat, and then eventually becoming, yeah, like the person who's just like, I'm just doing it. I'm the embodiment of authority, but in a beautiful
Yeah.
way, right?
Right.
I'm not overly controlling kind of way. And I think I said take control in a positive way. It's like, who doesn't want somebody who's like going to round up the troops? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't have any of this. So I'm very much like, yeah, sit back and let somebody who like comes in and, wants to like address things. I love it because it's not in my nature. Um,
Yeah.
so I think I don't know. It's like wonderful. It's
Yeah.
just,
Well, it's taken me time to get here. I didn't,
yeah.
when I first brought on my team, I wasn't that well with that authority aspect. Was a little bit more loosey goosey with things, and now we are.
You're moving into it.
I'm moving into it, and my team is so respectful and loves it when I am in this role.
Yeah,
It's my own shadows that keep me repressing that. But I
exactly.
wouldn't even be in awareness consciously if I didn't have my coaching sessions with you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like these are things that come up and it's like, okay, and you just continue to like kind of reinforce that support of like, no, no, you're supposed to be here. It's okay. I know it's uncomfortable, but like, how can you get there? How can you flow into it? So I think that, anyone who's trying to expand their business, especially if they're feeling pushback or blocks, like this is where you should start for sure, is
Right.
diving deeper into your design. Um, yeah, it's been exponential for me on like such a deeper level, emotionally and spiritually too.
Yeah, it gives you a map. It gives you so much confirmation. Like it's
Yeah.
so wild. Um, and and like, you know, one of the cool things too is like with the North Node, it's like we step into this at like 40 plus. It's like you're aware before it's like even time. And
Yeah.
that's really and I was too, you know, I'm over
Yeah.
40 now, but I knew all this stuff many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And
And
it
I'm
was
so
just nice
grateful.
to like be in that preparation phase. You're going to be experiencing your nodal return coming up when the North Node does move into Aries in a couple months. I think that's very exciting. I love working with people when they're in the midst of all of that because I'm like, this is your Dharma is getting pinged again. And that's
Hmm.
very exciting. And
Hmm.
it was very strong for me when that happened. And, you know, it totally, that's the thing that switched my life around and,
Mm.
you know, set me off on the path that I am now. I know for sure. So
Yeah.
super, super excited to watch all that. On that note, I mean, you know, I'm there every day. I mean, like, you're like, I don't have time for anybody. And I'm like, but me, we talk all the time.
But I swear, if you were here, if you were living here, and we were like trying to get, I would want to hang
Oh, I
out,
know.
and then I'd be
Oh
like, hold on, I
no.
need to like,
Girl,
so
same.
it's kind of a blessing that we're far from each other in a sense.
I know. I always say that it's like my best friends are like nowhere anywhere near me, you know.
Same.
And
Yeah.
it's like it's okay. It's like that works with mom life, with entrepreneur life, all of that. It's like we just get to talk all the time. But on that note, so tell everyone where to find you, what you're up to, what your current offerings are. Is there ways to shop with you, ways to book with you that are I know there's ways to come in, but are there any
Mhm.
other what else? What else?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Magnolia and Ash. It's at Magnolia underscore and underscore Ash. And right now I'm kind of like in a place of restructuring my virtual offerings. So I feel like this summer I'll be launching some really cool shit. So I can reach a larger, I don't know, community of people that are seeking support.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be doing, like skin consultations, but really like infusing in like, clarity through energy and, working with, some cool shit. So I'm going to say right now. And yeah, we are, you know, we do, I don't know, we do amazing. I have like facials and energy facials, but right now everything is in studio and everything we carry is, holistic, whole plant organic, small batch formulated with really intentional brands. And, I love it. It's just, I love working with these brands. They're just amazing.
And you have an incredible online shop, and that's something that I always want people to know about is like not only just the skincare products, but so many cool things, you know, whether it's your crystal
Crystals,
sets,
yeah.
right? Your tools, your crystal tools, like you just
Right?
launched, you know, like all kinds of amazing things, gifts. I'm like, this is the place to go if you want like special little like
Yeah.
cool gifts that you
Intentional.
and very
Yeah.
intentional gifts and things that I know because I'm like I still need to make my reel. I got it. She sent me a beautiful birthday box. Like
Mm,
when is it? I'm like a few weeks ago because my birthday was the middle of March, and I'm like everything's been so wild that I'm like and what you just use the word intentional. I was like I don't want to just throw something up. I want something to be so beautiful and intentional because
yeah.
I value that, and I value your friendship so much that I'm like oh no.
Oh,
Oh no, we can't just nothing
just
messy here.
close the
Yes,
box and
no.
put it away until I have time. I,
That really is it. It's like, okay, it's all gonna be done so well. And I'm like,
yeah.
homegirl's gonna come up for a breath here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. It'll be
Um,
like Virgo season.
no, I'm like,
So
no.
this is my birthday box for
Right?
Pisces
My
season. Yeah.
yes, I'm a Pisces. This was like 6 months ago. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um, amazing. Well, I'll put it all in the show notes and yeah, wonderful. Thank you all for joining us and listening to this little deeper insight into Gate 21 on a personal level, an embodied beauty level. I just love it. And Ash, of course, thank you for being here with me.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll see you all next time. Have a beautiful day.